What's going on, people? You've got myself today, Liam, representing Give Back. Obviously, this is our podcast that we've had a little break from every now and then, but like we're trying to get back into it. And I've got a special guest here with us today, and on a kind of episode and these different segments that we're going to do with different people, ideally locally, but we'll stretch it out as we expand. But local businesses, realistically, and how they're kind of affecting our community. Obviously, today is going to be based around football, but it's not always going to be the case. There's always different businesses and different people that are affecting the community in loads of different ways and in different fields. But I'm not going to ramble on. I'm just going to get straight into it. So today I'm with a good friend of mine, Johnny Clark. I've known him for years, and he is the founder and creator of JC Performance Training. I'm sure a lot of you would have heard about it. It's a big deal in Reading. If anyone knows football and specifically one-to-one coaching, which is what he specialises in, you'll know the name. So, Johnny, welcome. Thanks for joining us, first of all.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It's kind of like I say, it's the first of these kind of little different episodes that we're going to be doing, focusing, like in this situation, like a one-to-one conversation.
Yep.
Nothing crazy, no pressure, just a little casual chat. Like I said, we've known each other for years. So, it's just going to be me and you talking about your journey, because I know it's been a long one. I know as everyone sees the kind of success that you've got, and with your social presence, and obviously just business being booming, but there's a lot of years that go into it. So realistically, I want to start right, like your introduction to football, and I don't mean coaching, I just mean obviously playing. Everyone's loves football from a young age. I assume it was the same for you, playing and stuff. So did you play from an early age, or what was the situation?
I didn't start playing until I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
So before I started playing football, I used to love karate.
Okay, that was your thing.
Yeah, so karate was my thing, and I was good, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I've got an older brother that played.
Yeah.
So I kind of got involved with football with my brother.
Okay.
Where we used to live, there was a part where we can just go out and play, like a bit of greenery. So it was good. It was just probably back to the old days where street football was the thing.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's died a little bit nowadays? Like
100%.
Yeah, 100%. I don't feel like it's the same. Even when we were younger, like I don't feel like that. Just going to the park and being there for hours and coming home when it's dark.
We're blessed now with all the 4G pitches and
which is fair,
and things like that. And but yeah, you don't see many kids now out on the street, out on the roads, just kicking ball like it used to be.
So I mean, you're right in the sense that we're blessed with that 4G. So I guess that's just kind of where it is now. But it doesn't really have that same feel, does it? Like it's not like. I don't know. There's something about just
putting jumpers down as goalposts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just little things like that that you just look back at and you think, wow, how privileged are we now to have these facilities and pitches that we're used to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was I think a real big kind of upbringing with my football. I just playing at school, jumpers down as goalpost. Yeah, I fell in love with it, and I was quite lucky that I kind of picked it up quite well. And I think when I was 11, which would have been the end of my primary school years, I got picked to play for Newbury District.
Okay.
So I went to Field Primary.
All right.
So we come under like West Berkshire. So I went and represented Newbury District, which was good. It was a good achievement for only playing football really for about a year or so. And so that's where the football journey started in regards of playing. Okay. I used to play for Field Tigers as my grassroots club.
Yeah. Again, that's just based on where your school was, right?
That's where my school was, where I lived.
Yeah. So I used to go to school in Little Heath, so in St Tyler. So again, like a lot of the people around there was all Barton Rovers, and that was it. And then there was some people that lived, a lot from my school came from Calcutta, so there'd be Kennet Valley. I used to play for Kennet Valley them times. That was the area. So it's kind of like, especially them days, it felt like whatever area, whether it was your friends or your school, that you kind of played for that team, right?
Yeah, it was good because it's not like it is now where you go and play for the best teams because you're a name as such. Do you know what I mean? So it was more. It wasn't like that back then. So that was good.
But touching on that as well, like you with the new clubs that we've got, obviously the Junction Uniteds and the Reading West that we played recently, both of them in the tournament along with FC Bapco. Like they're actually quite regional, like at least their name, they're regional things, and a lot of their players are actually from those areas. So strangely and like maybe ironically, that's actually kind of bringing that vibe back. That like,
and I think it's good because I think sometimes that's how it should be.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That's how it should be. Don't get me wrong, it's football and players want to play for the best teams and get approached to play for the best teams, but it is nice when you do like form a team, and you have a lot of players come from that kind of area. Yeah. So
you could even go back to like obviously D Road, and the taverns. Like you, pretty much had to be a Whitley boy to get in there. That was
just standard, and I think that was the best bit about it. Yeah, you know I mean, they all stuck together. They all knew each other from young, and it was just had that kind of community kind of vibe to it, which is, you know, you don't get it all the time now. Even
like back then, like, and there was a lot of the Sunday teams that I would play for. Like, it was you have your game and then you're going out to the pub after, whether you have food there.
It's a whole day. It could be a whole day thing.
At least the first morning and the afternoon and whatnot. So that vibe of it really is gone now.
Yeah, it's gone. Because I mean, we'll talk about it a bit later on, but because when I used to play for a Sunday team, and that's the vibe it was, and it was brilliant. You used to look forward to your Sunday morning football and Sunday afternoon, and it was just it was what Sundays were kind of made for.
Decent. Okay, so you had your Field Tigers that you played for.
So Field Tigers was my grassroots club, and then, like I said, I was lucky enough to represent Newbury District, which is year 6. So it was the end of your primary school years, and that was good. Met some really good people, and from that, because Newbury District come under, or a lot of my teammates were from the Fatcham area, I got asked to go and play for Fatcham Tornadoes, which back then was a big team, big club. So I left Field Tigers to go there, and from there had more opportunities because the types of teams we're playing against, the type of areas that we're going into. I think when I got to 12, 13, I got scouted by Portsmouth.
Nice.
So that was good, and like I said, it was different then because you just didn't know that scouts were out there watching you. So that was good. So I went and trialled for them and successfully got through and ended up signing like schoolboy forms then. It was a centre of excellence, not an academy back then. So that was good. And I used to train at Basingstoke because there was a 60-minute, what you call it now, like you have to be within 60 minutes of...
Like a radius.
Yeah.
Drive.
So Portsmouth was too far for me to go and train. So I trained at Basingstoke. And again, lucky enough that we used to train like 2 or 3 different age groups, and another lad that's from Reading that's done very well at his football is Dion Burton, and he was at Portsmouth when I was there as a youngster. He's a couple of years older than me, and if you know who he is, you know that he would have gone on to have a successful career in representing Jamaica at the World Cup and everything like that. But no, it was good being at Portsmouth. It felt like kind of home because I thought that's where my football journey will just continue and continue. And when I got to, I think the age of 15, when they were like discussing scholarships, back then it was called apprenticeships, I didn't get offered one. So I took that quite bad because it was all I knew kind of. But before then, obviously I represented Reading schools and Berkshire schools, and at under 15 level I was quite lucky again to have England trials.
Okay.
So it was done in like regions and stuff like that. So for the South East, I think it was that I represented, and it was mad because not a lot of people know this, but I started off as a sub. Okay. I come on with 20 minutes to go the first half and come off within 15 minutes of the second half restarting with an injury. But within that time, I scored a hat-trick. Yeah, just scored a hat-trick, and it was like, it was...
Made an impact then?
Made an impact, but took an injury with that. So obviously resulted in me coming off the pitch and having a couple of weeks off. Got selected for the next round. Played really well, but just didn't score. But I think because of the impact I had in the game before with scoring and then not scoring, I didn't get selected to continue that journey. So I think it was about the last kind of 80 kids of my age. So when you look at it like that, it's an achievement.
In hindsight.
And the players that have, I would have played against or come alongside and played with, again, lucky enough to play with some really good players and play against some top players. I would probably say that the best player that I've played with is Hayden Mullins at Reading Schools. And he's a funny one because if you know football, you know he's good.
Yeah.
But if you just watch him, he does the basics very well.
Do you know what? I find that a problem, like in a lot of situations, and you know, people, whether it's coaches or
Yeah.
just people, just football fans or whatever that don't necessarily even understand football, like they'll just see someone that might be doing tricks and
Yeah.
even scoring goals, and they just think they're the best player, they're the most
Yeah.
valuable player in the team. But like your Hayden Mullins and like your just their midfield roles, like you get the Kantes and stuff that are getting credit for it now, but you had like the Vieiras and stuff that's been doing it for years,
But
and they
back
never
then,
really got
yeah.
the credit. They never really got the credit for that type
Well, you can
of
see
player.
how good Hayden was. I
Yeah.
mean, he was at Crystal Palace when we were coming through, like Reading Schools. So he started his journey at Crystal Palace, and like I said, he just done the basics very well,
Yeah.
and he was the best at doing it, and that's why he went on to have a career like he did. And you got to think when he was at West Ham, he was keeping Mascherano out of the team, and you know, Mascherano is top.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, I mean, we know there's a lot of good players that have come from Reading. Obviously,
Yeah.
Hayden Mullins is one of them. I don't even think he probably even really gets credit for how good he is, especially with you talking about obviously playing with or against him or
Yeah.
whatever, and then like you say, keeping the Mascherano out of a team. Like, that's a big feat. Like that's not a small thing. So that's a big talent that's come out of
Yeah,
Reading.
so he was probably, I'd say, the best. I mean, I played with a lot of good players. I played with Shane Small, and at a young age, he was very good.
Yeah.
You know, and he gets talked about still.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely
and
a
rightly,
local
and
legend
rightly
in the
so,
football
because
world.
he is a top player. But you know, when we were growing up, because I mentioned it, he was with me on the England trial as well. He come with me on the games, and he had good opportunities as well. And you know, for whatever reason, he didn't go on and make it, but that's his story.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he was another good player that I played with. Players I played against, I would probably say Rio Ferdinand.
Okay, yeah.
So we played against Blackheath schools. So in the English Schools Trophy, so I think we played against them, and I think it might have been the quarterfinals. And they come down to play us at Elm Park, which is the old Reading Stadium. Yeah. So we played there on a Friday night and drew the game 0-0. And he's a funny one because he was playing more as a centre midfielder striker.
Yeah.
And then you look at him at 15, and then you roll on another 3 or 4 years, he's talked about as one of the best centre-backs at a young age. Yeah. So he was...
You do tend to see that, though. Like, a lot of people, they'd even move him around, like their coaches might move him around, play him in different positions, work out
they
where
do
their
that
best
at academies,
is.
So he was good then. You can see that he had a bit about him. He was quite leggy, you know, skinny and whatnot, but you can see that he had something about him and had the ability to go on and have the career that he did. And there was another one that...
I mean, sorry to stop you, but like, obviously that kind of ability to see a standout player, obviously that's something that you even obviously recognised back then, but that's something that realistically you've had to take forward with you into your coaching, and obviously even into different opportunities that's led to. And whatnot. So that is, I mean, a lot of people, when you talk about the kind of greats in English football, world football, whatever, they'll say, oh yeah, from a young age we saw that he had something. So like it's obviously it's a real thing. Like,
but it's like players. You say, it's so easy to spot a player because he's skillful and he stands out. It's the ones that don't stand out. You know, have they got something about them? And I think that's where it really becomes like a talent to spot kind of talent.
I agree. I agree, and that, like you say, that's what makes you stand out as someone that spots that talent.
Yeah,
someone that can see something that other people are a bit overlooking, maybe. But
100%.
No, that's good. Just going back to, I guess obviously, like you mentioned, that kind of 4 year period of maybe getting into football from 11 to like 15, and obviously that's 4 years in you know a decent level, especially when you got into Portsmouth and obviously England boys and whatnot. So then to be coming out of that situation, you mentioned it was hard. I know, like, I even spoke to you actually this week about a program that was on the BBC, I think it was, and I don't know if there's other people I'm sure that would have watched it, and it just was basically focusing on people's journey and obviously being with a club for years. I mean, you might have been playing from 11. Some of these kids are playing from 5, 6
years old and going into academies.
They could be at academy for 10 years, a whole decade, and then get dropped at maybe 16, 17. And then obviously
it's difficult because, like I say, how it was then to what it is now is completely different. So just for my journey, obviously I got released and I didn't get offered an apprenticeship, and where I was in the shop window by playing for Reading Schools and Berkshire Schools, and where I represented, you know, the South, I can't remember if it was West or East England, but there was always scouts at games. Yeah. So there's always a Luton scout that really kind of liked me, but because I was at Portsmouth, they can't approach you. Okay, yeah. So it always speaks to my dad and things like that. And he used to say all the time, you know, if anything happens at Portsmouth, get on the phone straight away. We'd love to have him down with us. So I did end up going down there, and it was okay. I had to go and stay in digs. So like 15, 16, you're going away from home. Never been away from home before. Stayed in digs. So the first day I was down there, I had 2 apprenticeship people come and pick me up in their car, took me to training, and they were like, you know, they were good. They were talking to me, and they said, just remember the way, because tomorrow you got to walk. Yeah. And it wasn't far, but, you know, and I thought, oh, okay. And I just didn't really like the feel down there.
Fair enough.
Where I was at Portsmouth, and we used to go down there in half terms, and I just took a shine to down there, and it felt like down home. By the seaside, and it just felt like home, away from home. And I just didn't really feel it. And the coaches can see that within my play. They said, look, we'd love to sign you, but we can see there's somewhat not right. Yeah. So we sat down, we talked, and we just kind of parted ways and said thanks, but no thanks. Okay. I went on trial at Reading. I mean, that was a bit of a mystery that everyone's saying, you're a local boy, why are you not playing for Reading when all these clubs are... But it's crazy. It just was what it was. And, you know, I went on trial, and there was a guy called Bobby Williams that probably the older generation would probably know more of, and he really liked me, and I think they were going over a transition of changing academy managers and stuff like that, and he just didn't fancy me as a player. You know, again, hard to take, but the experience I've got now, I get it. You know, as a kid you don't get it, but, you know, with the experience and what I'm around now, I get it, and that's just how it is. And my football kind of just dropped then.
Fair enough.
Kind of felt a little bit down, defeated, and I went and played a little bit of semi-pro football at Basingstoke, and this time I'm about, you know, 17, 18 years old, so going out and things like that, it kind of changed a little bit for me, and football wasn't my priority.
Passion,
So I was at Basingstoke for a couple of weeks, and then one day, like, I got invited to go out, but I had a game, and I chose going out and rather going to the game, and that was that. But I used to play Sunday League football. I used to love it. I used to play for a team called Abbey Whitchurch. Okay. Again, great setup. Going back to Sunday mornings, you know, Sunday afternoon, and again, this was the time where they used to at Elm Park. There used to be a bar called Royals Rendezvous, and that's where we used to go back after our games, because there was a link between Ron Grant, who was I believe he was the kit manager at Reading. So a couple of these boys played for Abbey Whitchurch, and people like Kevin Dillon, who was an ex-Reading player, played, Stuart Bevan, etc., etc. So we had a good kind of mixture of young players, older, experienced players that had been around the scene. It was fantastic.
It's interesting that obviously you go off the vibe basically of when you're playing. Like obviously there's the football side of it, but there's just that feel of whether like when you're at Portsmouth and you feel good, and whether you're even at a Sunday League team, it just feels good. I mean, you mentioned obviously then that kind of experience with Luton, and in reality, the majority of players, when we think about it, probably have similar feelings because, and even like you mentioned about coming back to Reading, like it's interesting you kind of almost done that full circle, but a lot of kids don't even get that opportunity. Like they usually will be, you know, live in a town, have all their friends there, but they're shipped off to play the other side of the country, and they haven't got any friends up there, and if they don't like the vibe, they got to stick with it, or just like, you know, kind of just fade away. So it's tough on kids, especially at a young age, and going away like you said for the first time. It
is tough, and looking back at it, would I change anything? Maybe. You know, looking back at it, and again, in hindsight, knowing what I know now, knowing what I know now, if I knew that at 15, I know that I would have made pro.
Yeah. But so when you say you would have changed it, what you would have changed, like just your attitude maybe towards it, to like try and stick at it more? Or
maybe stick at it. I didn't really give it a go. I was down there for 2 or 3 days, and I just thought, I don't like this. You know, maybe I should have stuck it out a little bit. But at 15, 16 years old, you've never really been away or away from home with no friends or family or anything like that. It was tough, and it just wasn't me.
In reality, you got to think of it as well now. Like obviously that was a different time then. Like people, no doubt, have different motives. Like so, whether you're going and to play somewhere because you love football, then that's maybe the motive. Maybe you're going to play somewhere and pursuing it because I want to make the money that people in football make. That might be your drive. Like, I remember when obviously Darnell Fisher, again another good player from Reading, he used to come to sessions that we used to run, and just before he was about to go to Celtic, like I'm saying to him, like, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's Scotland. Like,
It's a big move.
It's a big move. Your boy growing up in Whitley and whatnot. Like from here, leaving your family, go to Scotland. He was like, for football, Liam, I'll do it. I don't care. Like I'm up for it. So like that attitude obviously is great, and obviously it worked out well for him, and obviously he's come back down now and he's playing in Championship football at a good level and whatnot. But like that was obviously his motive. I love football. Like that's what I'm doing it for. Some kids, that can help them, that can drive them to get past those kind of grey days, if you like. Some people, it might be money, and like, I'm struggling now, but I want to make money. So I'm going to stay at this club and maybe try and get a move or whatever, and maybe work harder to get to a different club or whatever. But
I think because where football is now, with like the money side of it, when I played, it wasn't like that.
Exactly.
So the money side of it wasn't massive. It wasn't a drive for me. Could I love football more? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't like football.
Yeah.
I was kind of like just take it as it comes kind of thing. But I happen to be all right at it. Again, if I was now growing up in this kind of era, then it would be different. But yeah, like I said,
it's definitely more of like a lifestyle now, isn't it? Like as a footballer,
with social media and everything, and you know, you can see other footballers, follow other footballers, and see their lifestyle and see what they can do outside of their day-to-day job, which is football. But you know, social media has made football 10 times. You know,
it's different.
And again, it's just generations, isn't it? It's when you talk about players again in that generation to this generation, you can't really compare.
It's hard
because it's generations, and it's like, you know, I was in a conversation the other day, and someone was talking about Van Dijk as a centre back compared to like playing against someone like Drogba, where in the Premier League we don't have a player like Drogba anymore, where could bully Van Dijk, so you know, Van Dijk looks good, doesn't he? Like, he doesn't really have a physical battle. He looks good on the ball. He looks like a Rolls Royce centre back. You know, if he played up against a Didier Drogba, would it be the same? You don't know, but then different eras.
That's it,
so it's hard to compare.
It is.
But yeah, so it's
interesting. So obviously, like that kind of covers your background very well. Like that's obviously your kind of early journey. We'll skip forward a few years then and just see how you kind of transitioned, or at what point did you think, okay, maybe coaching is a route that I want to go down?
Again, I didn't get involved with coaching until I was about 25. So when you look at it now, that's probably late, because there's coaches out there now at 17, 18 and getting started early. So when I look at it like that, I'm thinking, well, that's quite late getting to coaching. But it was, I think it was my nephew, Brendan. So he was playing up at Right Choice. He used to go and attend a community night up at Right Choice. And I got involved up there. So my first kind of experience of coaching was a Friday night up at the Leisure Centre in South Reading at Right Choice. And loved it.
I know a lot of people went through the Right Choice Academy, if you want to call it that.
Loved it. So doing a Friday night, and then it just kind of...
So what side of it did you love? What part of it did you feel like you loved?
I'm good around kids. I like kids. Do you know what I mean? I like kids. I like getting involved, and it just, it was just, you just come away buzzing.
Vibes again.
Yeah, you just come away buzzing. I'm thinking, wow, if this is what coaching is, then I'm all over this. And then again, hard work, and then, you know, little things started to happen where, you know, I got trusted to take I think it was an under 10 team and whatnot, and then it just led to more and more responsibility, and then, you know, I think two maybe and a bit years of hard work and graft, it eventually become a full-time job for me. So no, it was good. And I think looking back at my coaching, I'm glad I'd done that first rather than jumping in the deep end and go straight into an academy or anything like that. That's given me, I think, the grounding that I needed to be a good coach. Yeah,
I mean, I don't really feel like anyone should really just jump straight into academy. Even if you just do your badges and then go like straight into academy, I don't think that gives you really the experience that you need.
That's given me the experience, and that's given me the experience because working with different types of kids, you know, some kids would be hard ears and not listen to you, and then we had some good kids, and it was again working out what type of coach do I want to be, how to deal with certain situations, and like I said, that's kind of made me, or partly maybe into the coach I am today.
And at the end of the day, like a coach, the major part of it is just that kind of player management of it, like that understanding different characters, whether it's young kids or older people or whatever. Like it's just it's understanding how to manage that and how to get the best out of the people, like based on their personality, regardless of what their ability is. So that's interesting. So you right choice for X amount of years, and then
I think a good 3 or 4 years, and then I went to Reading. Okay. So I had a couple of roles within the football club. So I worked within the community, and then I worked in the girls program.
Okay, yeah.
So quite sometimes football's football, and sometimes it's about who you know. So I was quite lucky that I knew some people, and I kind of jumped up the ladder quite quick. And I worked within the girls program in the Centre of Excellence. Again, fantastic seeing like girls football. And again, when I look back at it compared to where it is now, it's just jumped like miles.
Definitely.
But again, I mean, working with top talent again, and probably one of them is a girl called Tanea that people would know from Reading. And I was lucky enough to coach her when she would have been about 10, 11 years old, and to watch her journey now, go from Reading, and I think it was to Chelsea and Arsenal, and then now she's playing in America. Top player.
Tanea Alexandra, right?
Yeah. Top player. And then there's other, ones that I've worked with. There's a girl called Rosella that now plays at Tottenham. Grace Maloney, that she's the goalkeeper for Reading, and there's a few more that I've worked with. So that was good. And then I worked within the boys' academy as well. So that was a good experience. The levels were high. Good coaches, real good coaches, and you can learn off and bounce off, and again work with my best friend, or one of my best friends within the academy. So that helps massively.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. Again, when I look back of the players that I've worked with, I've seen some of them now play for the first team, which is what it's about.
Yeah. You feel like you had a hand.
I feel like
in
you've
their
had a
journey.
tiny bit of help within that, and it's just good to see. And and I think that's what working in the academy is all about, is developing these kids and hopefully go and see them play in the first team, or move on and play somewhere else within the first team. So that's good. So I was there for a couple of years, and then I left there, and that's when the one-to-one business started.
So let's get into that then. That's what you're here for. That's how JC Performance Training was born. So tell me about the early stages of that then.
How it come about was I got approached by a lad that I used to coach with in the academy. Okay. Chinese lad that he'd come over, and he was training within the academy, and the parents approached me and said, like, how would you feel about doing a bit more individual training with our boy? I said, yeah, brilliant. So that's how it started, and I think that would have started probably about 2014.
Okay.
So a long time ago. So nothing was on social media, because social media wasn't really kind of big like that, and it wasn't, So a lot of the stuff early on was not even posted or put on video. Yeah. And then it kind of started from there, and then people started to get wind of it a little bit, and then started to get approached more. And it wasn't really bigger in Reading. I don't think it was big overall, generally, like one-to-one stuff and things like that. So within about 6 months, I probably had a client per day. Nice. So and then, like word of mouth, again, that was drumming up more business, and I think come 2015, that's when it went, I think, all on social media.
Okay. And then that just kind of helped to expand it?
Help it expand it. Whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not a big promoter. So, I didn't kind of put myself out there as such other than my social media. Yeah. So it was either I was getting business through Instagram, or it was word of mouth. Yeah. And it's just kind of just grown and grown and gone.
To be honest, like, obviously, as any business, like, the promotion side of things is obviously important, any kind of marketing of your business. But at the same time, when it's just as organic as word of mouth and just, people seeing your content and coming to you or whatever, that's really the way to build, like, a successful thing. Because, you got a good, solid foundation of, like, good clientele that are there for the right reasons and whatnot. So, like, obviously there's obviously benefits in promoting it, but effectively the quality of what you do is obviously spoken for itself, and that's why you're doing as well as you're doing now.
And I mean, I get people all the time like, "Oh, yeah, I bring my boy into you. Brilliant. There's my number. Call me." But I would never go and chase someone. Like, I wouldn't say, "Oh, I thought you were bringing in." Yeah, it's there. Yeah, it's down to you whether you kind of.
That is what I say. That is the difference of the quality that you think, because there's a lot of people, and like we say, back then 1-to-1 wasn't really a thing, but now loads of people are doing it. Loads of people, like, it's actually quite a saturated market now. To be fair, so to still have the clientele that you do and be as busy as you are and still be like kind of known as one of the kind of elite ones at what you do is a big deal, because there's a lot of people out here that are fighting for the amount of clientele that you've got. So like, kudos to you. Like, that's it. It's a big achievement. It's a big achievement. But like I say, it's all down to the quality of what you do.
Yeah, and it's not easy work. It's hard work, and like working with different individuals, that's what's helped me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I can talk to you in a way, and you get it. I can talk to another lad, he doesn't get it. So I might have to change the way either I'm saying it, or putting it across, or whatever. So again, it just comes down to me as a person being able to kind of see different things and know kind of what to say, what not to say, how to do it, how not to do it, and things like that. So yeah. Yeah,
good. So precision, obviously, that's something that, again, you dedicate some of your time
to.
So
that's more kind of daytime stuff. Okay. So I have clients that come in during the day for me on a 1-to-1, but I've obviously got free time to obviously help coach out of Precision. So they're in there Monday to Friday, so I'm in there like a couple of times a week and just help out with the coaching. Cool. So that's enjoyable. And then obviously the other role I got is I'm fortunate enough to work for Arsenal Football Club as a talent ID scout.
Okay. So how did that come about?
Come about from who's my boss. I used to coach his boy at Reading Football Club.
Okay.
So we always kind of got on and whatnot, and stayed in touch, little bits here and there, and we used to see each other and be on. I'll give you a call kind of thing, and then he's had a couple of roles himself at different various clubs, and then ended up at Arsenal. And it just come out of the blue. Like, I wasn't looking for it. He just got a phone call and said, "Look, I've got this role. I'm looking for a team of, scouts that I can trust and whatnot. And I've got this role. Would it fit in with what you do?" Yeah. So I went and met him, and we had a sit down and we had a chat, and I liked what he said, and I liked the vision, and obviously working for one of the the biggest clubs in the world, I'd say.
Now I think about it, like, I remember the time when you were kind of effectively been offered that role. Yeah. We had conversations about it, and I know that you were like almost umming and ahhing. As like you say, it's Arsenal Football Club. It's not a small thing. It's a big deal. But obviously, like you say, you had to kind of make it make sense for you. Yeah. Obviously, where you were already at that point with JC Performance Training and everything, you it's a great opportunity. But does it make sense for me? Like, do I have time for it? Financially, does it make sense? Blah blah blah. So like, obviously you had to fit all that in, and I guess obviously, so you say you had the conversation with him, and
we had a conversation, and obviously he showed me the vision and what my job would entail, and again, brilliant. Went back, spoke to yourself, spoke to my girlfriend, and a few other people, and how would it fit in with work life, family life, social life, because that's important to me.
Yeah, you got to consider.
So eventually. I ended up taking the offer, and so far so good. I'm enjoying it. It's good. I go and watch academy games, so I don't really go and venture into grassroots. I'm watching more academy games. Sure. It's interesting.
I mean, that's pretty much where you're at now. Like, you've come over, that's your journey. Like, obviously you mentioned maybe your first kind of introduction into football way back. And then obviously your introduction into coaching, right choice realistically. Yeah. Then Reading 1-to-1 sessions from the guy that you've effectively started from that guy. Yep. Progressing that, building that as a company, word of mouth. Yeah. Taking on an extra employee effectively. Yeah. Looking at potential getting other ones. Obviously working Precision, that came in along the time, and now obviously as your role in within Arsenal, they're effectively your free now. That's your free sources of income, effectively, all within football, and that all within football, all based on that. That's where you're at. That's where your journey is so far. That's brilliant. That's a successful journey. Even if it was to stop right now, that's a successful journey. Obviously, you've mentioned what you'd like to do. Obviously, bring some other kids through, ideally ones that you've maybe done sessions with, and help them kind of progress down a coaching path if that's what they choose to do. Any other kind of game plan or vision? Again, not that you need one, because you already...
Again, like with the scouting, like I said, it wasn't nothing I wasn't looking for, but now I'm in it. Yeah, I like it.
Fair.
So again, I would never say never to take on more responsibility, or I think JC Performance Training is something that I've built, and I would like it to keep going. Now, if I can employ more people, brilliant, because if I've got other things that I want to go and explore, then at least I know it's in capable hands, and I can drop in and out of there and things like that. And
that's the key, I guess, finding them capable hands to keep your brand alive.
I suppose it's the same. Anything one-to-one you do, they're coming for you. And it has been not a problem because it's never a problem. But we want to come because we want to train with you. Yeah. We don't want to train with no one else. We want to come to train with you. And look, I'm fortunate enough to have it how I have it, and I've got a big clientele, but there's other little one-to-one coaches out there, and they're all doing great work. So it would never be a case of, if I can't get you in, do you know what? Simeon, for instance. I give Simeon a kid the other day. I said, look, I can't fit him in. There's his dad's number. If you've got space, that's good. Give him a call. And I've done that with a couple of other one-to-one coaches. So it's not like...
So Simeon, he's another one. So S6 Academy. So he's, again, this is a section that we'll be bringing in different coaches to speak and have similar conversations with you. I'll definitely be bringing him in as well at some point.
But like I said, there's loads of good coaches out there, and and they've got different visions of what they want to do with their one-to-one businesses. Some of it's just part-time for them, and they can just do it when they can do it. I know for Simeon, for instance, his little boy now with the academy at Reading, so I would have thought a lot of his time now was spent training games and whatnot. But I'm here to help people as well. It's not just about me and my business. And there's loads of kids out there, and there's, like I said, there's coaches out there. So I want to try and help and send them in different directions if they can't come in with me.
Well, you've already helped already. You've helped players get better. You've helped players progress to different teams. I know there's ones that we haven't even mentioned that have gone on and worked with you and then gone on to sign pro contracts and semi-pro contracts or whatever. And so, well done for that. And obviously, well done for everything you're doing at the moment. Let's just finish up with just, if they haven't got you on social medias, where can people find you? Just Instagram, is that all you use, really?
Instagram is all I use, and it's just under JC Performance Training. So if you just type in that, it will come up.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I mean, it's been a good chat. I knew it would be. Obviously, we always have football chats at some point. But it was just good to dive deep into your journey
100%.
and obviously help people that, if anyone is looking to get into that type of thing, obviously just know that there's a lot of work that goes into it. You have to be very specific about your craft, whatever it is, whether it's coaching one-to-one or just anything. Just be specific. Try and stand out. Try and do something that other people want. But that's I think probably the message that I take away from your journey. But thanks for watching, everyone. Like, subscribe, share it if you see it on socials. We'll be back with another episode of something similar with maybe a different coach, or I know I've got some other people that we want to bring in. So we'll have some stuff for you. Stay tuned. We'll be back.